next to him who was a recruiter for a major Fortune 500 company, recruited personnel, and they got to talking about characteristics or how they hire. And this is the guy's story, the recruiter, non-believer. He says, you know what? We get the cream of the crop. We get people from the Ivy League schools, from the top schools with the top education and top performance. We spent lots of money, developing our program to do that. And then we saw we were losing people and people not performing and da-da-da-da-da. And he says, it just didn't work. And he says, what we did is we took everything off the table and we went and did this research on who we hired, and the highest percentage of people we saw that were successful that we chose were people who had leadership in college Christian organizations. And he says, I cannot say that publicly. But that was the commonality that was the standout thing for them. So we tend to think that if they find out I was involved with Crew or NAVS or InterVarsity or something, that they're not going to want us working for their company. But that's not true. That may be what gets you the job.
Yeah, very interesting.
Because those people aren't stupid. They want to make money, and they want committed, hardworking, competent, honest people working for them. Loyal. And as was it Forrest Gump said, smart guys are a dime a dozen, but men of integrity are rare. I think that's the theme of the story of the movie. And what gives us integrity? Well, hopefully it's God working in our lives.
That's right.
To weed out the lies and the deceptions, and that's a process.
Interesting stuff.
Yeah. It's good.
So generally when you meet somebody and they show an interest in the Bible, what book do you direct them to generally?
I like John.
Okay.
I think John, Mark is very simple, straightforward, short. One of those two.
It's interesting if you do a graph of the four Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. John fills in all the gaps.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Seems like it. Yeah.
Well, it's definitely it presents, not quite as much of the timeline, but more of revealing who he is. So,
well, something that we're all about in this ministry, I was looking how in all four Gospels there's the story of the giving and the feeding of 5,000. It's in all four. But in the Gospel of John, it's the only one that says the 5 loaves and the 2 fish come from a little boy. So that really spoke to me because John, like you were saying, he fits in a little bit, maybe, I don't know if he had the other Gospels, but God wanted him to include that little detail. Mm-hmm. And that encourages me because I think as long as we have this vulnerability of a child, mm-hmm. and this dependency on God as our Father, and we come to Him and we say, this is what I want to give you, is everything. And hopefully that's what all Christians want to do, is I give you all my gifts, all my 5 loaves and all my 2 fish. Mm-hmm. And what we're hoping with this ministry is that God then takes it and multiplies it. Mm-hmm. So we're hoping then that this goes out, not just to Cincinnati, but to all the United States and then beyond to the rest of the world. Mm-hmm. And who are we trusting to do that? That's God's. That's His, His problem, how He's going to do it. We just have to come and offer. Yeah. And He fed 5,000 men, not to mention all the women and children. So it's encouraging, I think, as long as we're saying to God, here I am. I may not be the best, like you were saying when you were working with these IT men, mm-hmm. quick and able to answer, and I'm sorry, I don't know how. You were available.